The UN says its inspectors will look into claims by Russia that Ukrainian forces are planning to deploy a so-called dirty bomb. Kyiv denies the accusations and has agreed to allow the International Atomic Energy Agency to visit 2 nuclear sites. Dirty bombs are laced with nuclear material, and the IAEA said in a statement that both sites were inspected a month ago and there was no evidence of such weapons. We get the latest from our Kyiv correspondent, Gulliver Cragg.
Well, Ukraine absolutely denies any plans to make a dirty bomb and has invited these inspectors from the IAEA to inspect the 2 sites that Russia named as being sites that had been charged with the development of a dirty bomb. The IAEA pointed out that it already actually inspected those sites, I think, within the last month and found absolutely nothing untoward going on there at all. It looks very much as though Russia is employing this kind of scaremongering rhetoric in order to up the ante in some way and lead to greater fears of escalation, perhaps in order to scare the West, those in the West who think that there should be some kind of negotiation with Russia to avoid the worst, to avoid some kind of World War III or nuclear confrontation, are getting a little bit louder. Or perhaps, and this is in a way the more sinister option, and it's what the Ukrainian leadership has said it thinks might be going on, because Russia is genuinely preparing for some kind of escalation, and it's not just to scare us, but Russia itself might be preparing to use a dirty bomb, and therefore resorting to its classic tactic learnt from the Nazi propagandist Goebbels of first accusing your enemy of doing what you actually plan to do yourself.
Well, Gulliver, as we mentioned, there are also some new numbers from the UN on the number of civilians killed and injured in Ukraine. What can you tell us?
Well, the UN actually releases these figures every month. The UNHCR has been doing so since the war broke out in eastern Ukraine in 2014. This month they put the number of civilian dead at 6,300, a bit more than 6,300, and the number of wounded at 9,770, if I'm not mistaken. But what you have to realize is that these are only figures for those who are absolutely confirmed. The estimations of the numbers of civilians who have really died are much, much, much higher, not least because we don't have any count of the number of people who died in Mariupol. And local media recently in Ukraine, citing people involved in the burial process, working in the morgues and so on, have put the figure of the number of dead in Mariupol above 80,000.